Hello guys, in this video we will see what is Webhook and why it is required in Business Central integration. So we already saw whenever we are integrating with the Business Central, API is the best way to do that. And whenever external application wants to get some details, they'll send a request and get the responses. Either they can do calling the standard APIs or calling as custom APIs. So what is the problem exact thing here which we are facing here is, suppose assume the external application wants to get a customer details every hour. So um, external application will send a request each 1 hour interval time, and they'll get a responses. So external application doesn't know whether the customers are updated on Business Central or not. It doesn't know anything whether the customer got deleted or not. So just they will send a request and get the responses. So performance wise, this is bad way of doing it. To avoid this, Microsoft had introduced a webhook. So webhook is a way to get notified if an entity changes in the Business Central, meaning whenever the customer created or updated or deleted in the Business Central, it will send a notification to subscriber. In our case, it's external application. So whenever customer entity customer table got changed, either create or update or delete, Business Central will send some notification to external application or a subscriber. So which means that uh, whenever external application gets a notification, then they'll send a request to Business Central to read the updated set of customers, which means that they no need to send a request every 1 hour once. So whenever they get a notification, then only they can send a request to read the customer details. So to do this or to test this one, currently I'm using with the Azure functions. So we'll see how we can do that. So basic um, thing is, with the external application and the Business Central, we have to make an handshake functionality, which means that uh, we have to send a subscription to Business Central. We will see how to do this in the next slides. First, we will see how to create an Azure function to test this. So very simple. We have to log into portal.azure.com and search for the function app. Click on the function app and click on create, and click on create a new function app. If there is no resource group, just create a new one and add a function name here. So this is my Azure function name, and select all this and click on review and create, and check all the details and click on create. And once you get this window, click on go to resource. So now we are in the function app, the function app which we created, Business Central Webhook demo. So from the function app, click on functions, click on create, and develop in portal, and select an HTTP trigger. So whenever the trigger will come from the Business Central, so get notified, we will select HTTP trigger and click on add your function name. In my case, I added as a BC webhook demo, authorization level as anonymous, and click on create. So now till now we are in function app, and once we click on create, now we are into function. So from function app we are inserting function. So click on code and test. Now we can see it here. Now we are in Business Central Webhook demo slash, which is app name, and we are in the function. So function is BC Webhook demo. So once you click on code plus test, you can see this is a default set of code. Once you create a function, so just replace this code with this one. I'll provide this code in the next slide. So make sure that the function name and the function which is defined both should be same, and that's it. So once you develop this one, then click on, so once you replace the code, then click on get function URL, then copy this into clipboard. This is my function app URL, which is my notification URL. So whenever the customer gets updated on Business Central, it will notify to this URL. So that's it. This is a creation of Azure function. This is the what the code which I uh, added in my previous step. So I'll provide this in my GitHub. You can use it. And this is a very important step. So first step is in the Postman. I'll use subscription URL. So this is what the handshake functionality between the Azure function and Business Central. So the endpoint is API Business Central, and this is my tenant and environment name. And at the end, I am adding a subscriptions. In the body, I'll add notification URL, resource, and the client state. Client state is an optional one. So the important two is notification URL and the resource. Notification URL, whatever the URL which we copied in the previous step, which is Azure function URL, and the resource. So which resource you are going to subscribing into. So in my case, I'm just subscribing into customer entity. So whenever the customer get modified, updated, or deleted, it should send a notification to this URL, notification URL. So once you click on send, what happens in the background is Business Central will create one subscription ID, and it will send to the Azure function, and Azure function will validate that subscription ID. If everything goes well, then it will um, show this comment or output on the Azure functions. So we see webhook demo function received a request, process the validation token, and executed this one succeeded. So once everything goes well, then in the postman response we will get this subscription ID and notification URL and the which resource we are subscribing into. So once we do this much, that's it. So now we are made an handshake functionality between external application and Business Central. In our external application, in the sense my Azure function. So for example, whenever insert or custom update or delete happened in the customer entity in Business Central, what happens in the Azure function? So Azure function will get this kind of uh, notification. For example, here change type updated. So suppose I modified some customer, so it says that change type is updated, and last modified date and time of the particular entity or a particular customer is on this date and this time. So whenever I deleted some customer, it says that deleted last modified date and time. So suppose when I create a new customer, it says it's created and modified. So in this case, if you see this one, this is a JSON file. From information, if you see it from here to here, it is JSON file. So it will have all the information of the particular entity. So how JSON file looks like, it looks like this. So value and multiple values. Suppose one customer got created, the second customer got updated. If you notice here, it's the same customer. So whenever in the Business Central, what happens is whenever we create a customer, after whenever you do some modification, means name updation or something, then it will send this notification also. So both are same entity, so both are same customer. So once we get a notification of this, then Azure function can send a request to create the customer details. This is very useful functionality for get notification for external application instead of sending a multiple request. That's it for this video. These are all the references for each uh, videos. Thank you guys.